With Lisa and Kaya.
Yes, we're doing a lot at the moment, huh? Another day, another life. So today we were going to talk about part 2 on finding and parenting from our own inner truth. What's actually true in our bodies and true in our hearts and true in our souls. And last live yesterday we talked about finding your intuition and tapping into it and being able to recognize it, know where to find it, etc., etc. So you can go check that out if you're interested. Today we're going to talk about bringing your own personal blueprint or your own personal philosophy of parenting, your most sacred values as a mother, up to the surface, so that you're consciously aware of them and moving from them. So,
and making your parenting decisions
from them.
Creating your own parenting philosophy from them.
Yeah. So there's like so much information out there on how to parent children. Like, it's insane. In fact, complete and utter strangers on the street give you advice on how to parent children. Even people who aren't parents give you advice on how to parent children. It's like everyone gives you advice.
I think you need it.
Yeah. And it is often contradictory. Like, there's, for every theory that goes in one direction, there's another one that goes in the opposite direction. It can be incredibly overwhelming and disempowering and stressful for a mother to try and sort out what all that is. Like, where do you fit in that? But you actually have within you your own core values, your own things that are so important to you as a mother, that come from your heart, that come from your soul, that feel like absolute truth to you for how you most want to raise your children. All of us have them. All of us. So they're there. And often we kind of know, like they're kind of driving us a little bit in our subconscious, like they're there and we are kind of working with them, but not in a really conscious, aware space where we bring them up to the surface and we say, okay, if this is a core value of mine, what does that mean around this decision? What does that mean in this moment? What does that mean moving forwards? What does that mean in terms of decision making on this path? Like,
and in terms of taking on all the advice and all the philosophies out there.
Awesome filter. A very good filter. So these values are within you already, but we're often not operating from them on a really conscious level. We're often focused outward at all the information out there and trying to cram as much of it into our head as we can. And there is some really helpful information out there. There's some amazing teachers out there. We're not saying there aren't. But if you have your core values brought to the surface and you understand what your personal unique parenting philosophy is, then you use that as a filter to look at the world and the information that's out there and continue to add to what you need. And it's clear on what you let go of that's not for you, that's just not in alignment with you, who you are, instead of stressing and beating yourself up and wondering if you need to take it on and all the pieces that go with that.
Yeah, and not only does that mean that you're parenting from your truth, like you're parenting in a way that feels really in integrity for you, it also makes parenting way easier because, like, I myself have gotten so lost in so many different particular philosophies, like, oh, I'm a natural parent, that means this, this, and this, and this, and this, or I'm an unschooler, that means all these
and
different
I can't
things.
do that because that doesn't fit with that philosophy.
Yeah, and I have to do this because that's what this person said. And all from a place of being externally guided and getting so confused and so lost in it and not actually being able to clearly and congruently parent. Like, it makes parenting really hard when you run from a externally kind of influenced grounding.
And your kids will absolutely know if you are not congruent on something. If you're going, okay, if I'm a natural parent, I have to do this. And there's another part of you that's going, I don't know if this is going to work for us, or whatever it is that you're thinking. That lack of congruency, oh my God, trying to get your kids on board in partnership with that will be way harder.
Or even trying to get yourself on board.
Yeah, well, that's it, because you're not fully on board. And your kids know that. They know these things.
Yeah.
Hello to everyone joining. If you want to say hello, we'd like that. We don't actually know your names, but we can see people coming. So you have these values already instilled within you. You have ideas on what is truly important for you, how you want to show up as a mother, the qualities that you want to give to your children, the skills that you feel are super important for them growing up, what else? Everything. It's all kind of already within you. And so one of the really helpful things to do is to sit down and find a way to bring what's already within you up to the surface, up to your conscious awareness. And then once you've got those values, we do have a whole process on this, but we don't want to take you through a whole process today because it's huge. We do like a full day retreat on this, don't we, to help mothers create their whole personal mother's creed and their own set of cards and all this amazing stuff. But so you sit and you bring your values to the surface, and we're going to take you through this in a minute because we're going to help you find one value. And once you find that one, the first value, good idea. You go.
It's all in here.
Yes, it's very shiny, but that's one of our books. So you take that value, and then what you want to do is, once you know the value, you want to work out, how can I bring this into my day-to-day? How can I bring this into my parenting so that when I'm moving through my day moment to moment, I am feeling in alignment with myself. I'm feeling in integrity. I'm feeling like, I don't like this word, but a good mother, whatever that represents to you, a good mother.
Like, I've got this.
Yeah, I'm doing it right, woohoo. That is because you're in alignment with what's in your heart and soul as how you want to be a mother. So know the value, and we're going to help you with that in a sec. Know the value, and then we're going to ask you a couple coaching questions through this as well. How do you start to bring it into your day? How do you use that value as a decision-making tool? How do you use that value to filter the information in the outside world? What else? Anything else?
Well, yeah, how do you model that value? And also, sometimes it's also even, how do you give that value to yourself? Not only to your children, but how do you contribute? Like, say for example, if the value is unconditional love, how do you give that to yourself as well as to your children? Because the way that you relate with yourself speaks a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. So all of this stuff is in you, and so we're going to take you through here on the live today a way that you can start to explore this. And you could ask these 3 or 4 questions. I don't know how many there are. You've got them open. 3, 4 questions?
yeah.
4 or 5 questions. Over and over and over again to keep pulling out your values. You could do the whole process and come out with a beautiful intention map and some aligned like kind of angel cards there, but they're all personal from your heart and soul as a mother. And they're all your parenting solutions. They're your intentions, they're your values, they're courses of action. Like, everything is there within you. And you just want to bring it up to the surface. So let's do it today on one piece so you can just start to live it. Because even that will be a huge shift. Because what you'll probably pull forwards is a value that is close to the surface for you today, because it's so important to you. It's reached out of the murkiness, and it's really clear. This is like a line in the sand for me. This has to happen in the way I show up as a mother.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be helpful to connect with 2 values that kind of balance each other out as well.
That's true. Do you tell your mother, okay, so when we get people to do the Mother's Creed, the first time they do it, there's like, oh, And then we ask them, we say to them, and especially if you have young children like under 3 or 4, because you are on an exponential growth curve at that point, we ask you to do it again periodically, like yearly, or every couple of years as the kids get older, because you'll change and you'll grow. You won't really lose any of your core values. I've never had that happen, but you might augment them. You might balance them a little bit.
They become more well-rounded.
Yeah, and you become more whole as a mother as that process happens. So it is kind of an ongoing thing to check. But you've got a good story about Mother's Creed. Do you want to?
Yes, well, when I first did it, all my values were like unconditional love, forgiveness, gentleness, compassion, cooperation.
Yeah.
And then after I really kind of, I talked about this in another live recently, after I kind of really integrated some shadows around being angry, being like
Losing it.
was I realized that the value of responsibility, personal responsibility, was so important to me, giving that to my children, and the value of like of boundaries and like clearly saying no, like all those things of like actually claiming that in myself, but also sharing that with my children so they really know that value of personal responsibility was actually just as important as unconditional love and forgiveness and freedom and all of that. Like they complement each other beautifully. So I wanted to bring all those in as well, and that made it all the more powerful.
Yeah. So the first time you do this sort of process, the values that you pick out will be ones that feel probably more obvious to you. But if you were to then keep going and do it again, you would probably start to pull out balancing things that were just as powerful to bring your children. We want our children to be self-responsible. Yes, we want our children to know what their boundaries are and be able to clearly state them in a congruent way, but also in a way that other people can receive, you know. So there's a lot there, and if we're not claiming some of those parts of ourselves, and if you're interested in that, go check out the shadow videos on the timeline, because we did a couple of them. And they might not be values that make it to your Mother's Creed initially, but over time they will, and they'll bring more wholeness to how you want to show up as a parent. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's do the value. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So to bring at least one value up to the surface that your body goes, yes, that's so important to me. That's how I want to parent. That's how I want to show up. That's what I want to share with my children. That's what I want them to like fully get. Ask yourself, what is a core value that I want to live as a mother and that I want to give to my children and that I want to pass on to them?
Just see what comes to the surface. You don't have to think too hard, by the way, for these initial values. That's your intuition is going to give you that one pretty quick. Your heart will. So you've probably got it.
Yeah. And then the next step is to bring that value into your actions and into your parenting and into the way that you choose.
Into the way that you show up in the moment.
Yes.
You know what? So many conscious mothers who are like so devoted to their parenting have studied their butts off. The amount of stuff they've got in their heads on how to parent is crazy. But what happens is that's not what happens in the moment. And they have this huge guilt and frustration that they know how they want to show up and it's not translating in the moment. And they're beating themselves up about it. So one of the ways is to do this next piece.
Yeah.
And then you'll be showing up this way more.
Totally. And your answers to these questions can be your practice, which is, I think we've done a video on that recently, but your practice is just something that you connect with in any moment, and that's all you need to remember.
So for the next couple of days, just take one of these as your practice, and anytime you don't know where to go with the situation, just try implementing this and see what happens. Own this piece like your personal mantra and see what happens. So just before we keep going, write down somewhere on a piece of paper, or awesome. Write in the comments. We would
yes,
love to see what your value was.
Yeah.
There's so many values, so I'm not going to suggest some, but like just write what your value is. And now we'll keep going. Just take some notes as you go.
Yep, so ask yourself, how can I model this? And write that down. Write some of the answers down, and that they're practices for you. They're actions you can take. It's your parenting strategy.
If you had your children in front of you, how would you model this value? How would you put it into practice and show it?
And then the next question is, how would I act this out? How would I do this value?
You might have a couple points under each, but just go with a few. This is just a quick initial brainstorm, this one.
And the next question is, how can I embody this as I relate with my children?
This is a really powerful piece in terms of energetics. So when you decide that your value is connection, I'll just pick that one for the illustration here. You decide it's connection. If you embody what connection is to you, the energy of connection to you, and you can hold that in your conscious awareness, it becomes your practice. Okay, how can I embody connection when I'm in front of my children as I relate to them? The energy that you project outwards is completely different. It's shifted, and it's really powerful. And if you shift your energy in your body, your actions just kind of follow naturally.
And then the last question is, how can I involve my children in an experience of this value right now or today?
So any of those questions are pretty powerful.
My children are making a bit of noise on the other side of the door. Sorry. Yeah.
So have a sit with those and just think. And we should talk a little bit more about the practice, because that is kind of a key piece in this. Look over what you wrote, what came out of that, or what popped up in your mind. One or two of them, but just pick one for now. Let's keep it simple. One of them will feel like like it will be like, oh, yeah, that's an important one, or that's a good one, or, oh, that would be so good right now. Like sometimes some of our values are stronger in different situations than in others. You may have an ongoing dynamic in your family, and so one of the values is like really there for you now. It's like, oh, or one of those questions that came out was like, this is perfect for my family right now. And that becomes, just take that one piece, let that become your personal sentence of mastery. Let that be your go-to for anything when you're not sure how to move forwards. Anytime you feel overwhelmed or frustrated or tired, bring your practice, that sentence, to mind. And it can be interpreted in so many ways. You could, as Kaya said before, enact that practice on yourself. How could I embody my value right now in this moment as I relate to myself?
Like if it's connection, how can I give myself more connection now? How can I connect with myself now?
Or your child won't get into the car seat, you're running late. That's a very common one. What's my mantra? Okay, how can I embody connection in this moment as I relate to my child? Yeah. So you can use it over and over and over and over again. The power is in exploring and playing with it yourself during this process, is in embodying it and experiencing it, because this is personal to you. And the way it is experienced and integrated into you is also personal to you. So the real power in it is when you just try it on a few times and allow yourself to experience it, because you'll own it. You'll own it. The more and more you work a practice, the more and more it becomes something that's just who you are.
Absolutely. Beautifully said.
I don't know, this could be a short one. We're trying to do a short one.
So let's...
We're not doing very well with that. We're going to go for a short one today.
Yeah.
So unless there's any comments, which there might not be, and that's okay, then we're going to aim for this to be our short one today. There's a bit of a lag, so we wait 1 second, 2 seconds.
And
Kara and I've got a funny day today. We've got to go try and do a live on YouTube now, which we haven't done before, but it's in preparation for our big workshop that's coming up. Oh, we forgot to mention that.
Join us at our workshop.
Next Saturday, a week from today, and in North America and Europe, it's the Friday night. We have a free workshop. It is a full workshop. We've given this workshop 3 or 4 times in small private settings, and the feedback has been amazing. And so we're going to give it to the whole world, our whole community, anyone who comes. So if you want to come, we are going deeper in intuition, claiming your own inner truth, reclaiming all of your parts in motherhood, bringing yourself back into, all of you, into the way that you're living motherhood.
And healing the stuff that gets triggered often.
So there's lots of stuff in this workshop. It's going to be so powerful. We're really excited about it. We'll put a link below. It's totally free for you to come. There's an awesome workbook, which is when you register, you'll get sent the workbook. There will be a replay for a week or so. It's not going to be up forever, but there'll be a replay for a little while there because we totally get that it's hard to be live all the time. But it will be live. The actual workshop will be live. And if you can come live, you can interact with us. You can ask us questions. You can ask you'll see all the other mothers' comments. You'll be part of the community feel, which is really beautiful energy. It's amazing.
Absolutely. We'll post a link in the comments. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Okay. Bye-bye.